The candlelight flickers across 12 faces gathered around our dining room table. My father sits at the head, his birthday candles casting a warm glow that softens the lines of age around his eyes. I sit quietly, watching the scene unfold like I'm somehow separate from it, a spectator in my own family. Mom's hand rests briefly on my shoulder, her touch warm through the thin fabric of my blouse. "I'm so proud of how dedicated Mira is to her studies," she says, and for a moment, I feel a rare spark of validation bloom in my chest. Then, Sloane's voice cuts through the moment. "Well, yeah, she's got nothing else going on in her life." The table falls silent. Dad's fork freezes halfway to his mouth. Aunt Martha's eyes dart between us, her smile faltering. I stare at my plate, watching the mashed potatoes cool. Someone Uncle Paul, I think, offers an uncomfortable chuckle that dies as quickly as it started. "No friends, no boyfriend, no job," Sloane continues, her voice carrying the same casual cruelty she's perfected over 30 years. She reaches for her wine glass, takes a deliberate sip. "Just books and my kids." I look up then, meeting Sloane's gaze across the polished oak table. My sister's smirk sits perfectly on her face, like she's just made a harmless joke we should all appreciate. At 30, she still possesses the effortless ability to make me feel small. Like I'm still the little sister trailing behind her, desperate for approval. The air in the room shifts. Everyone waits for my response. I force my lips into what I hope passes for a smile, though it feels more like a grimace. The wound forms beneath my expression, invisible but deepening. "How is the college application process going, Mira?" Dad asks, his clumsy attempt to change the subject both touching and insufficient. Before I can answer, Sloane interrupts again. "Honestly, if I didn't ask her to babysit, she'd probably be growing moss at home." Something tightens inside me then, my hands around my water glass, my jaw, something deeper I can't name. Across the table, Cousin Lana catches my eye. Something passes between us, a silent acknowledgement I've never noticed before. In that moment, I see the pattern that's been there for years. Sloane's casual dismissals, the way my family nods along, the expectations that I'll always be available for her children while my own life waits. I say nothing. The choice feels strangely powerful, more than any defense could be. Later, after the cake has been served and the conversation has moved on to safer topics, my mind drifts back to yesterday racing from AP Biology to Sloane's house because she had an emergency hair appointment. The boys were watching television when I arrived, homework forgotten on the kitchen counter. Sloane didn't return for 4 hours. I think about last month's college fair, the one I missed because Ethan had a cold. About the Stanford application deadline I barely met, typing feverishly at midnight after putting the boys to bed when Sloane's quick dinner with friends stretched past 11. Just for an hour, her texts always read. 1 hour becomes 3. 3 becomes an evening. My textbooks sit unopened. My own deadlines approach, then pass. In the kitchen after dinner, I stand alone at the sink, methodically rinsing plates and loading them into the dishwasher. The familiar rhythm soothes me, gives my hands something to do while my mind replays Sloane's words. A presence beside Milana, rolling up her sleeves and grabbing a dish towel without asking. "You know she's wrong about you, right?" she says quietly, eyes fixed on the glass she's drying. The simple statement cuts through years of doubt. I've never heard anyone in my family contradict the narrative Sloane has created about me. I nod wordlessly, unable to find my voice. Something shifts in my expression. I feel it happening, like a door long shut creaking open. Lana places the dried glass in the cabinet and turns to me, her voice low so the others in the living room can't hear. "You don't owe her free childcare just because you're her sister." The words hang between us, dangerous and true. When I finally respond, my voice sounds steadier than I expect. I know. But do I? Have I ever really known that? The realization settles over me like a new weight heavier than before, but somehow less suffocating. What would you do if your own family openly mocked your dreams and took your kindness for granted? Stay with me, because my response over the next few weeks will leave you speechless and, might just inspire you to reclaim your own worth. My calendar hangs on the wall beside my desk, a grid of tiny squares filled with more of Sloane's commitments than my own. Red ink marks babysitting days that consume most afternoons and weekends. Blue ink me actual life appears in thin slivers between her demands. I trace my finger over next weekend, already blocked out in red. Boys, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. A familiar heaviness settles in my chest. The Stanford application sits half-finished on my laptop, due in 3 days. My AP Bio study group needs my research contribution by Sunday. My phone lights up with another text. Sloane, of course. Can you take the boys Wednesday too? Dinner with clients. No, please. No acknowledgement that Wednesday is already marked for my college interview prep. Just another demand, as casual as borrowing a sweater she'll never return. The realization clicks into place like the final piece of a puzzle I've been assembling for years without seeing the picture. Sloane doesn't view me as a person with my own life. I'm a resource. Free childcare with a convenient blood connection. I stand before my bathroom mirror, gripping the edge of the sink. I'm sorry, I can't this weekend. My voice comes out whisper, soft. I clear my throat and try again. I'm sorry, I can't this weekend. Better. Still too apologetic. One more time. I can't babysit this weekend. My reflection stares back, hazel eyes wider than usual. My hands tremble as I type the message. I delete and rewrite it 3 times before hitting send. Simple and direct. I can't watch the boys this Saturday. I have a study group I can't miss. The response comes less than a minute later. The boys will be so disappointed. They've been talking about seeing their aunt all week. My stomach twists. I picture Ethan's face falling, Max asking repeatedly when I'm coming over. My finger hovers over the keyboard, the instinct to cave rising like a tide. No, for once, I hold firm. I'm sorry, I'll see them next week. I breathe deep, feeling strangely light despite the guilt. One small stand. My first. Saturday morning, the doorbell rings at 9:17. I'm already at my desk, notes spread across the surface, laptop open to research I've been collecting for months. The Stanford essay finally feels within reach. The bell rings again, more insistent, then again. When I open the door, Ethan and Max stand on the porch, alone. Over their shoulders, I catch Sloane's silver sedan pulling away from the curb, brake lights flashing once before she turns the corner. Aunt Mira! Max throws his arms around my legs. Ethan looks up, his smile hesitant. Mom said you'd make us pancakes. Their backpacks bulge with toys, snacks, and extra clothes packed for a full day. Planned in advance. Where's your mom going? I ask, even though I already know. Shopping with friends, Ethan says with a shrug that mimics his mother's casual dismissal. My phone buzzes with texts from my study group. They've been waiting 20 minutes at the library. My research, the foundation for our shared project, sits packaged neatly in my bag by the door. Come on in, guys. I step aside, watching my carefully arranged day crumble. 3 hours later, the boys build a fort in the living room while I stare at my phone. 5 missed calls from my project partners. One terse message. We're moving forward without your research. Had to split your section among ourselves. My chance to impress Mrs. Bentley, the AP Bio teacher with connections at every university I'm applying to, gone. I text Sloane. Why didn't you ask first? Her reply bubbles up immediately. You know I'm busy. What do you have going on that's more important? The screen blurs as I blink back tears. What could I possibly have that matters more than her needs? My future, my education, my one shot at a scholarship that would change everything. But Sloane doesn't see any of that. She never has. Max crawls into my lap, a picture book clutched in his small hands. Read, Aunt Mira? I pull him close, breathing in the scent of apple shampoo and crayon wax. This isn't his fault, or Ethan's. They settle against me as I read about a small bear finding his courage. My voice steady despite the storm inside. Nothing will change unless I change it. She just dropped them off? After you said no? Lana's voice crackles through my phone that evening. The boys went home an hour ago, Sloan breezing in with shopping bags and no apology. She does this all the time. My voice shakes. She knows I won't turn them away. Because you love them, Lana says. But your time has value, Mira. She needs to respect that. I sink onto my bed. How? She doesn't listen. Professional babysitters get paid, Lana says, her tone matter of fact. Start charging for your services. The suggestion jolts through me like an electric current. She's my sister. Who's using you? Lana counters. Family helps family, sure. But this isn't helping anymore, it's taking advantage. After we hang up, I stare at my ceiling, picturing Sloane's face if I handed her an invoice. The thought sends a strange thrill through me. On my laptop, I search babysitting rates in Wisconsin. The results make my eyes widen. $12 per hour. Per child. I open a spreadsheet, fingers flying across the keys. Hours given, weekends sacrificed, opportunities missed. By the time I finish, the number at the bottom steals my breath. $3,618. Nearly 2 years of my life, calculated in dollars and cents. In the next room, I hear my father laughing at something on television. My mother calls out that it's time for dessert. Normal family sounds from people who never notice what happens right under their roof. I save the document, naming it simply, My Time. For the first time in years, that's exactly what it will be. Mine. The candlelight flickers differently tonight, harsher somehow against the familiar faces of my family. 2 weeks have passed since Dad's birthday dinner, but the memory of Sloane's words still burns like a fresh wound. I sit straighter in my chair, shoulders back instead of curled inward as they've been for most of my 18 years. So I've applied to Wisconsin, Madison, and Minnesota, I say, answering Aunt Martha's question about my college plans. The biology programs at both are excellent. My voice carries across the dining room with a clarity that surprises even me. Mom passes the green bean casserole, her eyebrows lifting slightly at my confident tone. Uncle Paul nods. Good schools. Competitive, too. She'll get in, Cousin Lana says, reaching for her water glass. Mira's GPA is nearly perfect. From across the table, Sloane watches me through narrowed eyes. She's been unusually quiet tonight, pushing her pot roast around her plate with deliberate movements. Her wine glass has been refilled twice already. Application deadlines are coming up fast, I continue, addressing the table at large. I've been working on essays every night this week. Sloane's fork clatters against her plate. Now I know who really has a heart and who doesn't. The room falls silent. Forks pause midway to mouths. Aunt Martha's glass freezes halfway to her lips. Even the boys, Ethan and Max, sense the sudden tension and stop their whispered game. Sloane, Dad warns quietly. My sister ignores him, her gaze fixed on me. Some people make family a priority, others just don't. Mom places her hand on mine. Mira has always been there for you, honey. Not anymore, Sloane says with a bitter laugh. Too busy with her precious college applications to help her own sister. Meanwhile, I'm drowning trying to work and raise 2 boys alone. I count silently to 5, focusing on my breathing the way my AP biology teacher taught us before exams. Mom squeezes my hand, a familiar gesture that whelmed me but now feels like part of the problem. Maybe be the bigger person, Mira, she whispers, just loud enough for everyone to hear. Family comes first. Something snaps inside me then, not with a dramatic crack, but with the quiet finality of ice breaking on a spring lake. I set my fork down beside my plate with deliberate calm. The small clink against china ripples through the silent room. Everyone grows still, waiting. Even Max stops fidgeting in his booster seat. 12 pairs of eyes fix on me, anticipation hanging in the air like summer humidity. Real adults don't take advantage of others and call it love. The words leave my mouth steady and clear, surprising me with their strength. Mom gasps, her hand lifting to cover her mouth. Dad's eyebrows shoot at his receding hairline. Aunt Martha's eyes widen. Sloane's face flushes crimson, blotches spreading up her neck to her cheeks. How dare you? I've watched your children 37 times in the past 4 months. I continue, my voice level. Last-minute calls, canceled plans, missed deadlines. All so you could have just an hour that always turned into 4 or 5. Dad clears his throat but says nothing. His fingers tap against the tablecloth, a nervous habit I've seen 1,000 times. Aunt Martha suddenly becomes very interested in her mashed potatoes, pushing them into careful peeks with her fork. Uncle Paul shifts in his seat, the wooden chair creaking beneath him. Across the table, Lana catches my eye and gives the smallest nod of approval, almost imperceptible but enough. "Excuse me," I say, folding my napkin beside my half-finished dinner. The chair legs scrape against hardwood as I stand. No one stops me as I walk through the kitchen and out onto the back porch. The April evening wraps around me, cool air filling my lungs. My heart pounds in my chest, but my hands remain steady as I pull my phone from my pocket. Leaning against the porch railing, I open my notes app and begin typing. $12 hour per child standard rate. Weekends only. 24-hour notice minimum. Payment upfront. The screen glows in the gathering dusk as I add more details, outlining boundaries I should have set long ago. Inside, I hear the muffled sounds of conversation resuming, Sloane's voice rising and falling in familiar patterns. But something has shifted tonight. A foundation stone moved from its long-settled place. When I return to the table 10 minutes later, the conversation stutters momentarily before continuing. I slide into my seat with a calm I've never felt before, purpose replacing the anger that drove me outside. "Would anyone like more potatoes?" Mom asks, her voice overly bright. Later, as the dishes are being cleared, Lana finds me in the kitchen, dish towel in hand. "That took courage," she says quietly, taking a plate for me to dry. "What's your next move?" I glance toward the dining room where Sloane is helping Max with his dessert, making sure no one can overhear. From my pocket, I pull out my phone and show her the rate sheet I've created. "Wow," Lana says, eyebrows raised. "You're actually going to charge her?" "Her and anyone else who wants my time," I reply, surprised at the steadiness in my voice. "I'm worth more than free labor." Lana studies the screen, then hands the phone back with a smile. "You know, you should broaden your client base. Sloane isn't the only one who needs reliable childcare." An idea forms, taking shape like a specimen under a microscope, clear and defined. I nod slowly. "You're right." That night, my bedroom quiet around me at last. I sit at my desk and open Facebook. The blue light of the screen illuminates my determined expression as I craft a post with careful, measured words. Summer babysitting available, weekends only. $12 hour per kid, CPR certified. Looking for respectful families only. My finger hovers over the post button. In the glow of the screen, I glimpse my reflection, shoulders straight, chin lifted. Then I press firmly, sending my declaration out into the world. What happens when you finally stand up for yourself after years of being taken for granted? Does the world collapse, or does it open up? I'm about to find out. My phone buzzes on the nightstand, jolting me from the calculus problem I've been staring at for 20 minutes. Not Sloane again, but when I glance at the screen, the notification surprises me. "Mrs. Landon, would you be available this Saturday from 2 to 6 p.m. to watch Emily and Jason? We pay $15 hour per child." I blink twice, rereading the message from my English teacher's wife. My post has been up less than 6 hours. The phone buzzes again and again. Each notification brings a similar request: neighbors, church members, parents of underclassmen all needing childcare, all offering payment. Unlike Sloane's demands, each message contains a please, a specific time frame, and an acknowledgement of compensation. I open my calendar app, the one I've used to track Sloane's emergencies for 2 years, and begin blocking out my new schedule. Within 3 days, every available weekend slot fills with paying clients. I leave Sunday mornings open for myself, sacred time for college applications and sleep. When I edit my Instagram bio to include weekend babysitting, fully booked through August, a strange pride warms my chest. Perfect. I examine the photo on my phone, my half-completed Stanford application next to the simple contract I've created for my services. The paper bears checkboxes for emergency contact information, food allergies, and expected return time. Small things Sloan never bothered to provide. My thumb hovers over the caption I've typed. When kindness turns into obligation, it's time to draw a line. Is it too much? Too pointed? But the memory of Sloane's words at Dad's birthday dinner, she's got nothing else going on in her life, hardens something inside me. I press share. The likes and comments flow immediately. Mrs. Chen from AP Biology. Good for you. Reverend Miller's wife, teaching valuable lessons about respecting others' time. Proud of you. Even Mr. Abernathy, our crusty old government teacher, establishing healthy boundaries exemplifies mature citizenship. What surprises me isn't the support, it's how many women twice my age comment with variations of, I wish I'd learned this at your age. Mira, I need you tonight. Sloane's voice on the phone holds that familiar edge of assumed compliance. I'm not available tonight. The words come easier now, my third time saying them this week. What do you mean, not available? Mom said you're just studying. I have a client at 6:30. I continue organizing my notes, phone tucked between ear and shoulder. Silence then. A client? Since when do you call your own nephews clients? I don't. The Wilsons twins are my clients. They pay me to watch their children. The explosive sound from the other end might be a laugh or a scoff. You're babysitting for other people but not helping your own sister? I set down my pencil, focusing fully on the call. They pay me, and more importantly, they respect me. I'm not available for people who don't. Her breathless pause signals the direct hit. This is ridiculous. The line goes dead. 3 weeks later, my mother watches me count out bills on my bedroom desk. $215. More money than I've ever had at once. Your father mentioned you seem happier lately, she says, leaning against my doorframe. I am. I separate the bills into neat stacks: college application fees, laptop fund, spending money. Mom steps into the room, examining the organized piles. I've been taking the boys on Tuesdays and Thursdays. She rubs her lower back. Max is getting heavy. I nod, waiting. I don't know how you managed them and kept your grades up. Her voice carries a new understanding. I didn't really. I slide the application fee money into an envelope. I missed 2 scholarship deadlines last month because Sloan dropped them off without warning. Mom's face tightens. We both know this admission would have sparked an argument 3 weeks ago, a lecture about family obligations. Now she just sighs. Well, I'm proud of you for. She gestures vaguely at my desk, my calendar, the new confidence in my posture. All of this, taking charge. When she leaves, I open my laptop, still an ancient hand-me-down from Dedan Research Models that would support the biology program's software requirements. In 6 more weekends, I'll have enough. My phone lights up with a text from Lana. Did you hear about Sloane's interview? My stomach tightens. No, what happened? Sitter canceled last minute. She missed it. I sink onto my bed. The district manager position she's wanted for months, the one that would finally give her benefits and regular hours. Despite everything, a pang of guilt surfaces. The next text follows quickly. Not your problem. You warned her the world doesn't run on her schedule. I stare at the ceiling, thinking of Ethan and Max. They didn't ask for any of this. For their unreliable mother, for the instability. I wonder what they've been told about my sudden absence from their daily lives. My phone buzzes again. Sloan, I heard you're babysitting for other people but not helping your own sister. I draft and delete 3 different responses before settling on the truth. They pay me, and more importantly, they respect me. I'm not available for people who don't. 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again, then nothing. I wait for the familiar anxiety to rise, the dread of disappointing others, of causing conflict. Instead, I feel a calm certainty. For the first time in years, I haven't abandoned myself to keep someone else happy. I set the phone aside and return to my college essay draft. The prompt asks about a challenge I've overcome. 3 weeks ago, I would have invented something impressive sounding. Now my fingers move steadily across the keyboard, telling the truth about finding my voice. The candles on Mom's birthday cake throw dancing shadows across the dining room. 2 months since Dad's birthday dinner, but the room feels different now. I sit straighter in my chair, no longer hunched as if waiting for the next blow. Uncle Paul asks about my college applications while passing the green bean casserole. Madison's biology program would be lucky to have you. Across the table, Sloane shifts in her seat. She interjects about Ethan's soccer tournament, but Aunt Martha keeps her focus on me. Have you heard back from any schools yet? Before I can answer, Sloane taps her fork against her water glass. Mom, did I tell you about the promotion I'm up for? Dad nods politely, but his eyes drift back to me. The family orbit no longer revolves exclusively around Sloane's son. Ethan tugs at Sloane's sleeve. When's Aunt Mira coming over again? She promised to help with my science project. The question drops into the conversation like a stone into still water. Sloane's fork freezes midway to her mouth. Why doesn't Aunt Mira come play anymore? Max pipes up from his booster seat, tomato sauce ringing his mouth. The room grows quiet. 12 pairs of eyes drift between Sloane and me. Aunt Mira is busy with school things, she finally says, the words sounding hollow even to my ears. Nobody says it, but everyone at the table recognizes the deflection. After dinner, I find Ethan alone on the back porch steps, knees pulled up to his chest. The evening air carries the scent of lilacs from Mrs. Henderson's yard next door. You okay, buddy? His small shoulders lift in a half-hearted shrug. Are you mad at us? My heart cracks open. I turn to face him fully, waiting until his eyes meet mine. I love you very much, I say, each word deliberate. I'm just teaching your mom about respect. Ethan considers this, his forehead creased in concentration. Mom says we always have to say please and thank you. A laugh escapes me, unexpected and genuine. That's exactly right. The screen door creaks. Mom steps onto the porch, dish towel slung over her shoulder. After Ethan scampers inside, she lowers herself onto the step beside me with a sigh that speaks of bone-deep weariness. I didn't realize how much you were doing for your sister, she says after a long pause. I study the chipped polish on my fingernails. What do you mean? I've been watching the boys twice a week since you. She trails off, searching for the right words. Since you became unavailable. It's exhausting, she admits, voice barely above a whisper. I don't know how you managed with school. For years, I've craved this recognition. Now that it's here, I'm not sure what to do with it. Back inside, the conversation in the living room shifts when I enter. Uncle Paul asks about my little babysitting business, his tone carrying genuine interest. She's made quite a name for herself, Lana offers. She's booked solid through August. I saw your Instagram post about safety tips for new sitters, Aunt Martha adds. Very professional. Sloane starts to interrupt, something about unreliable childcare, but Dad gently redirects her. Another shift in the family current, subtle but unmistakable. Later, passing the hallway bathroom, I overhear Aunt Martha's voice. You took advantage of her goodness, Sloane. My sister's response is too quiet to make out, but the defensive tone carries through the door. I slip away, a strange satisfaction warming my chest. This isn't just about me anymore. The entire family system is recalibrating around this new truth. In the kitchen, Lana helps me arrange cookies on a serving platter. Everyone's talking about it, she says quietly. Not just tonight. At book club, Mom mentioned how you'd started charging fair rates. Aunt Helen said she wished she'd done the same 30 years ago. The cookie in my hand hovers midway to the plate. Really? You've got 3 generations of women rethinking what they've given away for free. When Uncle Paul asks about my college plans over dessert, I speak with a confidence that would have been unthinkable months ago. I've already been accepted to Wisconsin State with a partial scholarship. I say, the words no longer feeling like bragging. Just before we leave, Sloane corners me by the coat rack. Her eyes glitter with something between anger and desperation. You've turned everyone against me, she hisses. I take my time buttoning my coat. When I finally meet her gaze, my voice comes out calm and clear. I'm no longer the free babysitter everyone assumed I'd always be. I have goals, and I decide who gets my time. The power isn't in the words themselves, but in the quiet certainty behind them. Sloane blinks first, taking half a step back. As I walk to the car, I catch Mom watching me with something new in her eyes. Not just pride, but respect. I've claimed my worth after years of being undervalued. The world hasn't ended. Instead, it's expanded to make room for this new version of me, one who knows exactly what she's worth. The acceptance letter from Wisconsin-Madison sits pinned to my bulletin board, its official letterhead catching the morning light. Next to it, 3 other college letters form a row of possibilities I couldn't have imagined 6 months ago. I run my fingers across my new laptop keyboard purchased with my own money and check my calendar for the day. Study group at 10, babysitting the Henderson twins at 2, coffee with Lana at 5. No emergency text from Sloane, no last-minute please, just my time, organized by my choices. Dad pokes his head through my half-open door. You heading out soon? After breakfast. I close my biology notes and stretch. I'm meeting the study group at the library. He lingers, his eyes traveling to the acceptance letters. I told Dr. Washburn about Madison yesterday. He has a colleague in their biology department. The pride in his voice warms something deep inside me. Not the desperate gratitude I once felt for scraps of attention, but something steadier. Mutual respect. Higher, Aunt Mira, push me higher. Ethan pumps his legs on the swing, his face tilted toward the spring sky. I give another push, watching his body soar through the air. Max toddles around the sandbox nearby, his chubby hands packing sand into a bright red bucket. From a bench 20 yards away, Sloane checks her watch. 30 more minutes, boys, she calls. Our arrangement glows crisp and clear between us. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3:30 to 5 o'clock. $20 per session. Sloane tried negotiating the rate down once. I simply walked away. She never tried again. Do the countdown, Aunt Mira, Ethan squeals. I grab the chains of his swing during his forward arc, holding him suspended for one dramatic moment. 3, 2, 1. Blast off. I release the swing and he sails forward, shrieking with delight. These moments, the ones I choose, rather than the ones thrust upon me, shine brightest now. Mom sets a casserole on the dining room table, her movements more deliberate than they were a year ago. She started taking a watercolor class on Wednesdays, the same night she used to watch the boys while Sloane went to book club. I told Karen I couldn't host the fundraising committee anymore, Mom mentions, passing the salad. Twice a month is plenty. The confidence in her voice mirrors my own journey. The lessons of boundaries spreading through our family like ripples in water. Mira's getting an award at graduation, Dad announces. Department recognition for her biology research project. Aunt Martha nods. I saw your post about it. Fascinating work. Across the table, Sloane pushes food around her plate. Must be nice having so much free time for bugs, she mutters, the familiar edge creeping into her voice. The table quiets. I feel the familiar tightening in my chest. Before I can respond, Dad clears his throat. Speaking of time management, Sloane, how's that promotion coming along? The redirection flows so naturally, I almost miss it. Aunt Martha follows with a question about Sloane's department. The conversation shifts. I catch Dad's eye. The slight nod between us acknowledges what just happened. He stepped in, so I didn't have to. The family system recalibrating around my worth rather than despite it. But Jessica always expects me to drop everything when she calls. My cousin Amy twists her friendship bracelet, her 14-year-old face creased with frustration. We sit on the back porch swing, watching evening settle over the yard. Your kindness is precious. Share it with those who value it, I tell her. But isn't that selfish? I shake my head. There's a difference between selfish and self-respect. One takes from others, the other simply requires that others not take from you. Amy considers this. Did Aunt Sloane get mad when you stopped being available all the time? Furious. I laugh softly. But then something unexpected happened. The boys started getting more quality time with me, not less. Ethan told me he likes having special Aunt Mira days on the calendar, she says. I smile, thinking of my nephew's latest words. Waiting makes it more special. My suitcase lies open on my bed, half packed for college. Textbooks and sweaters folded neatly beside my microscope. On my desk, Ethan's crayon drawing a stick figure with brown hair surrounded by butterflies. Across the top in wobbly letters, I love when you babysit us. Beside it sits my calendar, next semester already marked with visits home. 2 weekends each month highlighted in yellow. Ethan and Max time. I pin the drawing to my bulletin board alongside the acceptance letters. The boundaries I built weren't walls after all. They were bridges stronger and safer than the worn paths of obligation I once traveled without question. Tomorrow I'll drive away from this house, but I'm not leaving behind what matters. I'm taking with me the gift of my own worth, and the knowledge that true love thrives within clear boundaries.